Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me again on this fantastic morning. I guess it's almost afternoon for some of you. I am here to show you some fantastic new products for spring 2013. These products will be featured in a brand new catalog, which will be available soon. Put more information about that. You do know, I hope, that the samples of the products that I'm going to show you today are available now. And so hopefully after this presentation, whether you're watching it live with me, and thank you, or whether or not you're going to watch our recorded section of this webinar, I hope you find that these products are well worth the investment of these samples. And by the way, you can get them at 10% off now. So make sure again that you take the time to watch this webinar, learn a little bit more about these products, and I'm hoping that at the end you will be very excited and want to get these samples in your hands as soon as possible. So without further adu, I am going to toggle back and forth between the presentation I'm going to show you. They'll highlight these new items, and then I'm going to show you a few items on the presentation, and then I'm going to bring you back live with me, and I have some samples here to actually show you and show you how some of these products work. All right, so let me take you to our first item, and I do want to encourage you, as Mary said, that as we go through the presentation, please feel free to type in your questions, and Mary will shoot those questions to me as we go through the presentation. So we've got two fabulous new products for toddlers and through preschool, and the first is Puzzle Stacker. And I'm going to show you the scale of this product in the next slide, but this is a huge wooden stacker. It's made of rubber wood. It's very high quality construction. And as you can kind of make out here in the picture, it's got a very unique, ingenious design. And it's made with these discs that are interlocking. Now, younger kids can play with this simply by removing those discs, and they can learn then to simply stack those discs in any order they want. So they're really just learning then to improve their gross and fine motor skills. It doesn't matter how they put those rings on. But as the child learns that there actually is a pattern to how these things interlock, and actually it's kind of like a puzzle, they'll then begin to figure out, oh, wait a minute, there's a size relationship going on here. A certain top piece that's in the natural color of the wood, that actually interlocks with a certain colored piece that is of the same size. You can see there, then they'll also start to understand size relationships. So obviously there's a larger disc set, and there's a smaller one, etc. And as you go, the child's also going to learn about basic colors. You can see here. And finally, the child, again, as they learn that these pieces interlock, the pieces actually interlock with each other. So a small colored piece can actually interlock with a larger wood-colored piece. So there's a lot of different ways for the child to play with this product. And let me show you the next slide. And here there you see a child playing with the product, and you get an idea of the scale. It's huge. This is a very large puzzle stacker. And the wood, again, it's very easy for kids to hold. The pieces are very large, and it's made of very high-quality construction. And you can see here the multiple layers of learning the child is going to benefit from with this product. Now I'm going to take you to the next product, the next slide. And then, as I mentioned, I'll take you live. You can actually see the product with me. The next product is another wooden product, again made of high-quality construction and rubber wood. And this is called the Xylophone Box. Now this is a product that allows the child to actually start to experiment with different musical sounds. Let me play those some for you. Again, I'll show that to you live here in a second. But the blocks that you can see here in the picture, they actually stack. So there's a benefit of stacking blocks. The blocks also nest as well. Again, the child is exposed to 5 primary colors. And again, in this photo here with the girl, you see the scale of the product. It's pretty good size. Now also you have, again, the benefit of learning size relationships here. So the child can actually line up the boxes side by side or stack them as you saw and begin to understand the size relationship between small and medium and larger blocks. But what's great about the xylophone box, unlike some other early xylophone toys, is that the blocks are separate. So the child now has the ability to arrange these blocks any which way they want as they start to experiment with the musical sounds. So let me take you live, and you'll get to see these products with me. And I'm just going to lower my camera. And here's the puzzle stacker. Again, look how large that is. It's just humongous. As I mentioned, the rings come with this interlocking design. And the child can take these off. And by the way, the pole is also very thick, very easy for the child to use. As I mentioned, the different shapes are interlocking, so I can take a smaller colored piece and interlock it with the wooden piece, like so. So I can slip it on like so. I can take a larger piece, and let's say I want to take the smaller green one, and even the colors interlock as well. There's all kinds of patterns the child can experiment with. It's as open as their creativity is. And they can stack upside down or right side up. So all kinds of fun ways to play with the puzzle stacker. And by the way, these pieces can also be played with on a flat surface like so. And the child can stack it without using the pole. So that's puzzle stacker. By the way, it comes in this beautiful box I wanted to show you. And the box on the back shows slightly different types of patterns and ways to play with it. So the parents got guidance right out of the box with how they can play with their child with puzzle stacker. Playful xylophone. So I mentioned the blocks are nesting for convenient storage. And you simply can take them out. You can stack them. The stick, by the way, fits right underneath the largest block. Again, easy to store. Comes in the nifty little box. And the child then can arrange the xylophone blocks in any order they want. Playful xylophone. Isn't that pretty cool? And in the spring catalog, you're actually going to find, when the catalog is released, we actually have a musical page. And the page talks about the power of music and how that is very beneficial to a young child. And Playful xylophone will be one of the featured products on that section.
Jim, could you give us the retail prices for these two products?
Oh yes, most certainly. Puzzle Stacker is going to be $40 in the U.S. and $45 in Canada. And the xylophone box is going to be $37 in the U.S. I'm sorry, $32 in the U.S. and $37 in Canada. And again, when you get your hands on these products, and you need to get these samples, believe me. I truly believe, as does the supplier of this product, that if you have this product in your hand and you pull it out and start taking a customer through all the features and benefits of this product, you have a guaranteed sale. I truly believe that. And this product, as I mentioned, it's got some really hefty weight to it. It's extremely durable. As I mentioned, it's made of rubber wood, which is a very sturdy material that a lot of high-end suppliers will use with this type of product. And the xylophone, too. Don't be fooled by its size. It may be a little small when you nest them, but it's pretty good weight. It's about 3 or 4 pounds. Okay. Any other questions about those products, Mary?
Yes, Billy Elias had asked a couple questions. Will there be replacement parts on either of these?
Replacement parts, I don't believe we'll have replacement parts right out of the gate, but certainly as we move through the season, we'll take a look at that.
Okay, and then are the notes on a xylophone real notes?
I don't believe they conform to an actual musical scale. And there's only 5 of the blocks, as you saw.
Wendy Latilla actually just made a comment that her son got the puzzle stacker for Christmas, and they absolutely love them. However, it's important to note that the colors aren't as bright as they look on the picture as they are wood, and also that you need to check the wood edges before giving to little ones, as they can be sharp and have splinters. So that's something to note. And
yes, I mean, yeah, as always with wood products, yeah, you want to make sure when you take it out of the box, make sure there's no splinters.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there isn't, you know, we've evaluated this product, and there really isn't, assuming that you don't have any splinter problems, the product is not that sharp at all on the corners, so it's pretty safe.
Perfect. And then Gail Snyder, and I don't remember, this may have just been, she may have heard wrong, but did you say what is rubber wood? She's never heard of that before. Is that something you said? I don't remember you saying that.
Yeah, rubber wood is most wood products that you'll find in the marketplace, while there are a variety of woods, most of the products you'll find in the marketplace are made of tea wood or rubber wood. You will find some bamboo products in the marketplace as we move towards you know, more eco-friendly materials. Rubber wood tends to be a little heavier and is a little more durable than tea wood. And a lot of the suppliers of wood products, particularly products that are considered more high-end, a lot of European suppliers, for example, prefer to use rubber wood.
Awesome.
And
well,
these 2 products are made of that material.
Well,
and you really, if you get the samples in your hand and start to feel these products, you'll understand what I mean by their durability and strength.
Okay, that's all the questions right now.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to move into some books. The first is called A, You're Adorable. And some of you may be familiar with this song. It's a ditty from, I think, the late 1940s. I'm not as familiar with it, but I have come across some people who are, as I showed them this book. And this book, if you're familiar with the song, it is an ABC song. So it takes the child through the alphabet. But what's really neat about this song is the song really talks to the child from the parent's perspective of how much that child means to you. And, you know, for example, you see there in the spread in the slide, you know, E, you're exciting. F, you're a feather in my arms. C, you look good to me. Then it goes on, D, you're a darling, and etc. And it is just a beautifully illustrated book. It's a small board book, very easy for you to take along with you, right? You know, read at bedtime with your little one. So A, You're Adorable. This one is $7 in the U.S., $8 in Canada, so perfectly priced. A great add-on. Again, I'll show you these books live here in a second. A couple of reviews about the book. Oh, by the way, you see that second review there, it's recommended in a multicultural list, and that's because there are pictured in the book kids of, you know, all the different ethnicities around the globe. The next book, you're all familiar, I hope, with Guess How Much I Love You. Well, we this spring are bringing you Guess How Much I Love You in pop-up form, and this is a beautiful book. Again, I'm going to tell you, if you have this book in your hand and you pull it out to show your customer, this is a guaranteed sale. Many of us are familiar with the tale, but the pop-up book has all kinds of pop-ups, and there's pull tabs and other features that really bring this tale to life, you know, from the first spread on. And the tail just jumps right out at you. And my daughter wanted to read this over and over and over again, and play with the features as she went through. So hopefully you're all familiar with the tale. Again, a bunch of reviews about this book. And again, this story is just a wonderful story for a parent to share with a child and really assure the child that he or she is loved and she is so special and gifted. And it's funny when my wife was reading this story to my daughter a couple days ago. I'm going to go back to my camera here. And my wife asked me as I was walking by the bed, how much do you love Savannah, my daughter? And of course, right away, without even thinking, I put up my arms this much. And that's what the story is all about. But let me take you through it here. So it starts with little nut brown hare, of course, who was going to bed. Right next to big nut brown hare. And as I mentioned, there's different pull tabs here, so you can see little nut brown hare's arms go up. I love you this much. Open the spread. Big nut brown hare opens her arms even bigger. So again, all kinds of features. Oh, little nut brown hare reaches for the sky. I love you this much. As high as I can reach. Well, big nut brown hare reaches even higher. So you really can see how this tale is brought to life. And it goes through here. This is the last spreads. As little nut brown hare falls asleep. So just a beautiful book. Again, just really brings this wonderful classic tale to life. Guess How Much I Love You is $20 in the U.S., $23 in Canada. And again, if you have this in your hands to show your customers, a guaranteed sale. Everyone has got to have this on their bookshelf at home. Now, I mentioned A, You're Adorable. Again, the small size, sturdy board book, very easy for you to bring along with you. So I mentioned beautifully illustrated, takes a child through the alphabet. And it ends to tell you what you mean to me. So again, the child is going to be exposed to the alphabet. A great chance for you to teach your child about the letters. But also, as a child reads this with you, they're going to feel warm, they're going to feel loved, and it really goes to great lengths to strengthen that bond between parent and child. So, A, You're Adorable. I would sing it to you, but I don't know how the ditty goes. And probably better, you don't want to hear my voice this early in the morning.
Billy Elias
Yes.
said take her off mute and she could sing it. she knows the...
You'll have to teach me, Billy.
Can you also do the prices again for those?
Yes. So A, You're Adorable is $7 in the U.S., $8 in Canada. Guess How Much I Love You is $20 in the U.S., $23 in Canada. Okay. I have another book to show you, but this is so much more than the book. This is called Playbook Farm. It is a beautifully detailed pop-up book. Again, it's a board book. But what's great about this book, and I'll show you the pop-up pages in a second here, is that you actually can pull out the book. The child can pull the book. It comes in a nice little box and fold it open. And that board book becomes a farm play set. And there are 9 stand-up play pieces. So there's farm animals, there's a tractor, there's a farmer, etc. So it's not just a book, but it becomes a whole play environment where the child can now use their imagination and put themselves right on the farm that they just read about. And you can see that, again, the scale of that play mat with the 2 children playing with it. Here's a little close-up picture of the play mat. Yeah, both my 7-year-old son and 5-year-old daughter love this product. Now I'm going to show you some beautiful benefits of this book. Let me go back to my camera. And I was actually quite surprised with how much is in this book. So as I mentioned, it comes in a box, and this is the actual book. So it fits right inside the box when you're done. And there's an envelope and the front cover, and in the envelope there are the little stand-up play pieces that you would use with the playbook. That's a little tracker there. But let me show you the book. So the book is actually two-sided. I was quite surprised as I went through that. I didn't realize that as I was going through the book. So the first side is a pop-up book, as I mentioned. And you would read it as you would any other book. But what's cute about this is that each of the spreads takes you through a couple of animals, and the child is introduced to the animals by the sounds they make. And they also learn that there's something that the animal does on the busy farm. So, for instance, cock-a-doodle-doo. It's time to wake up on the busy farm. So the rooster gets us up in the morning. Moo, moo, moo. The cows are ready for morning milking. So we get our milk from the cows. Woof, woof, woof. Barks the sheepdog as he herds the sheep. So the sheepdog brings the sheep in. Ba, ba, ba. Beat the woolly sheep in their pen. So the sheep give us wool. And as you go through there, you learn more. So there's hoppity hop hop. The bouncing hares. There's nah, nah. Calls the horses as they munch their hay. Meow, meow, says the cat. Oh, there's even whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Whirrs the windmill. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Natter the hens, pecking at the corn. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Chatter the two plump turkeys. Oink, oink, oink. Grunt the noisy pigs. And everyone is happy all day long on the busy farm. Now there's a surprise. You can actually then turn the book over. Now I'm starting from the back. And it tells you to read the story, then play on the farm with all your animal friends. Well, as you start to read backward, you have another book. And now the child is going to be asked on each spread, what do each of the animals do? So let's see what they remember or what they know. So for example, in the first spread, all the animals on the farm have jobs to do. Can you guess what they are? What do cows do? Ask the child and see what the child responds. And the answer is there. Well, cows give us milk to drink. Now each of the pages is going to open up a little bit differently because it is a pop or fold-out book. So now the pages open this way, and the child is asked, what do hens do? Hens lay eggs for us to eat. But what do farm cats do? Farm cats keep the mice away and stop them from eating the wheat. And it goes on. The child is asked about the dogs. The child is asked about the sheep. The child is even asked, what is wheat used for? Well, wheat is used to make flour for bread and cereal for our breakfast. They're asked about horses. And they're asked about pigs. And finally, the child is asked, if you lived on a farm, what would you do all day? So now the child is encouraged to use their imagination and creativity. And as I mentioned, you then can open it up, and I don't have a table necessarily big enough to show you, but I'll kind of give you an idea of how it opens. And there essentially is 3 rows, and there you go. And you have yourself a pretty large-size farm playset. Playbook Farm is $24 in the U.S., and guess what, Canada? It's the same price in Canada. So it's $24 in the U.S. and Canada. And as I mentioned, there's 9 different play pieces right there in the envelope in the side flap, and all fits right back in the box neatly for storage. Playbook Farm. Again, just another product that if you have this in your hands, take your customers through the story. Remember, there's 2 stories. on both sides of the book. And then for that magical aha, pull out that book, lay it out on the floor on the tabletop, pull out the play pieces, and voila. You've got an instant play set. Any questions?
There isn't a lot of questions. There's a lot of excitement going on.
Awesome.
Yeah, everybody is completely excited about this toy, or this book. Brittany Malone had mentioned that her 3-year-old son is watching this with us and is very excited about this.
Awesome.
So.
It is just again, it's a beautiful book that everyone needs to have in their collection. Okay, I'm moving on to a cooperative game. As you know, we introduced some other cooperative games in our line, and we have a new one joining us this spring, and this is called Seed for the Birds. And this game has baby birds in a nest. You can see they're up top on the game board, and they're hungry. And the object of the game is for the players to feed baby birds, help mama bird feed her little ones. But you need to watch out for the squirrel there up on top next to the nest, because that squirrel is going to be looking for seeds too. And so it's everyone's job to feed those little birds before the squirrel takes the seeds away. And I'll show you in a second how that works. It's very easy to play. No reading required, which I love about this game. So once you show little kids how the game works, they get it instantly. So I'm going to take it to my camera. That's Seed for the Birds. And it comes with these tiles. And there are seed tiles. There are squirrel tiles. And then there's mama bird tiles. And finally you have these little seeds. Now how you play is you will take the tiles, you will randomly place them around the birdhouses that are on the board. It's 15 tiles, and you, again, just randomly place them without knowing what is where. And as I mentioned, there are birdhouses, so there's 9 birdhouses. Now, there is a graphing element to this grid on the game board, so the child is going to start to learn some basic graphing. So how you play is you simply, player by player, will turn over any tile. And I've got a squirrel, so the squirrel means nothing yet, but let me find a seed tile. And once you turn over a seed tile, so let's say I turn over a seed tile, there's 3 seeds. So if I turn over a seed tile, and there's 3 on there, I count 1, 2, 3, I grab 3, and I get to choose a birdhouse on that row or column, and there are arrows on the board helping the child. So I turn over this 3 seed tile, and the arrow is pointing this way across. So I choose one of those birdhouses, any one, and I can put all my seeds on one birdhouse, or I can spread them out. So let's say I want to put 1 here and 3 there in that row. All right, so now what happens? Oh, I turn over a bird. So if I turn over a mommy bird tile, I then get to choose the seeds that are in that row, again, row or column. So the arrow is pointing down. There's 2 seeds here in that column. I get to take those seeds, and I get to place them in the nest to feed the baby birds up top of the game board. Now if let's say I have 3 seeds in this row, and let's say I turn over the squirrel, right? Well, now the squirrel gets those seeds that are in that row or column. And I give those to the squirrel. And then so on. So I turn over 2 seeds for that column. Again, I get to choose wherever I want to put them. Let's say I spread them out. And so on as you go. 2 more seeds. I get to add 2 seeds to the board. Again, this is a cross. And you keep going and so on. So as you grab or turn over a squirrel, so I turn over a squirrel again, there's one seed in that row, I get to keep it. But if I turn over a mommy bird, I'm looking for my mommy bird. Aha. Okay, if you turn over a tile in the corner, there's actually a arrow pointing diagonally. So I turn over mommy bird, any seeds in that diagonal, I take it, and I feed my little ones. So I think you get the gist of the game. And again, the object and hopefully the result is that you will have fed more seeds to the baby birds than to the little pesky squirrel. Okay, that's seed for the birds. And the cost of this beautiful game is $16 in the U.S. and $19 in Canada. Any questions?
I have one question. Billy was asking, how many seeds are there, and is it possible to run out?
There are 15 seeds, and I don't believe it's possible to run out. I can tell you here in 1 second. I'm just going to count them up. Bear with me. 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope. There are 16 seeds, and there are only 16 seeds illustrated on the tiles. So you will not run out.
Okay. Just a lot of excitement for the question.
Oh, it's a beautiful game, and again, it's very, this is a wonderful game for the really younger children. Okay. Audio Bingo. Now, I did introduce this product a couple of months ago. It was a little late getting to us, but it's now available. And I just wanted to refresh people's memories about Audio Bingo. It does come with a CD, and on the CD there are a number of familiar sounds. And let me just play that for you here. And in the beginning of the CD, there is a little bit of instructions for players if they're not as familiar with the game.
This is a group game of recognizing sounds. Listen to the sounds you hear, and then place the game token or card on the picture that identifies that sound. Then listen for the next sound. Who will win? Listen, play, and you'll find out.
So we'll play a couple sounds.
Recording number 1.
So there are 4 different recordings on the CD. So yes, that would be an airplane. And as a child is listening to the sounds, they do have colored discs. Each player has their own color, and they're covering the objects. So if I find a frog on my playboard, I'm covering that frog. Now each of the players has different objects on their playboard. All right, so you get an idea of the sounds. They're very loud, clear. I like that there's a couple of seconds in between them. That allows the players to help each other if they're not sure. They start to work together because, again, there's no overlap in the objects. So I find when I play this with children that they actually like helping each other to identify the objects. And I just wanted to, again, bring you back to my camera and remind you again that Audio Bingo comes with these interlocking game board pieces that fit together like a puzzle. And the pieces are interchangeable, so I can simply swap out the pieces. And so there are multiple combinations that you can put together. So really, every time a children get together and play this game, it could be a different game every time simply by rearranging the game board pieces. I mentioned each player has their own colored discs, but the product also comes with word cards. This one, color read says bells. This one says train. So the child, as they get older and they learn how to start reading, they can actually use the word cards. And instead of using the discs, they'll try to match the word tiles to the objects that they hear on their game boards. So again, it's just a host of learning, and this product just is beautifully designed to grow with the child. That's Audio Bingo. In Audio Bingo, again, the cost is $27.50 in the U.S. and $32.50 in Canada. Again, another product that I truly believe if you have the sample in your hand, you pull it out. A lot of customers, may be familiar with Sound Lotto products, but when you pull out and show them how the puzzle pieces, the game boards, can be interchanged every time the child plays, and then you pull out the word tiles that the child can use to match the objects, I mean, you're going to, guaranteed sale. I don't see how somebody can refuse to buy this product, because really there's a lot of rich learning with Audio Bingo. Okay, Exact Change. Some of you may be familiar with this product. We had it as a seasonal special not too long ago, but the product is back. It comes in a box. The seasonal special that we had available, we had a limited quantity that was available in a pouch, but now it's available in a box. And Exact Change is a wonderful game teaching kids about the value of money and how to combine different coins together to add up to a certain value. Now, it plays very much like Uno or Crazy Eights, if you're familiar with that game. And so each player is dealt a number of cards. There is one discard pile, and the object is to run out of your cards. And how the child is going to play the cards, and there's two different levels in the instructions for the younger kids and older kids. So the younger kids, they're simply going to try to match the color or the number or value of the coin. And you might be able to make out in the picture here that the number or value of the coin is actually printed in two of the corners. So while the child may not know yet that a penny is 1 cent or a nickel is 5 cents, the 1 and the 5 is printed right on the card to help them. So the child's going to match either the color, so you see the colors there around the border of the card, or they're going to match the number. Now the older children, you can introduce the concept of multiple coins to reach a certain value. So for example, if I place a 6 cents card, and in my hand I have a penny and a nickel, I can play the penny and the nickel at the same time, and I yell out exact change when I do that. So again, two different versions to grow with the child. That's Exact Change. Now I do want to show you this puzzle, and again I'll take you live to show you Exact Change. This is very similar in format to the Pawn Puppies puzzle we had in our last catalog. This is Country Horses. Again, this is a family-style jigsaw puzzle illustrated by the same artist. And the centerpiece with the two horse heads you see there, that is a 100-piece puzzle, size for kids aged 5 to 8. And around the outside or the frame of the puzzle, you have a 900-piece puzzle with smaller pieces. So the younger kids can assemble the puzzle with their older siblings or with their parents. Beautifully illustrated puzzle. And we know that horses appeal to both boys and girls. Okay, I'm going to take you back to my camera here. And by the way, this is the box for Country Horses. And real quickly, let me take you through exact change. It comes with a lot of cards. Easy to read instructions, as I mentioned. There's a couple different ways to play. Now each of the players also has, there are these guides or cheat sheet cards, and it kind of gives the child some hints. For example, it says 5 pennies equal a nickel, 2 nickels equal a dime. So the child has that to help them as they play. And as I mentioned, there is a color on the card. So this one has a yellow border and a 25 cents. So the numbers again are written on the corners of the cards. Here's a blue card. Again, this says 40 cents. There's all kinds of different values. There's 12 cents. There's a penny. There's even amounts over $1. So this is $1.01. There's wild cards. So you can choose to use the wild cards or not. So wild cards can represent any value. But there's also some fun cards in here that, again, you can choose to play with or not. This is called bank withdrawal. So if I play the bank withdrawal card, I play this card and I get to choose any player to take a card out of my hand. Now remember, the object is to get rid of your cards. So I can choose any other players and they have to take a card from my hand. And there's also a collect tax card. And with the collect tax card, all the players except me have to draw another card from the draw pile. So again, that's exact change, very easy to play. Again, it plays just like Uno or Crazy Eights. And as the child goes through the game, they're going to learn about the value of money, and they're also going to learn about how to add and subtract different coins and dollars to get to a certain value. That's exact change. Any questions about exact change or country horses? Oh, by the way, exact change is $10 in the U.S. and $12.50 in Canada. A great price, great price for Easter gifts and for springtime. And country horses is $16 in the U.S. and $19 in Canada.
Perfect. Another question from Gail Flanagan for exact change. Is this U.S. only, or is it available in Canadian?
I'm sorry. Very good question. No, exact change is only available in U.S. currency.
Okay.
Now, we are selling the product in both U.S. and Canada, but it only has U.S. currency in the game.
Okay, and then Billy Elias asked about the Pawn Puppies puzzle did not match the picture on the box. Do we know if the country horse matches?
It will, yes. The initial shipment that we got of Pawn Puppies, we discovered that problem, and the puzzle was not cut correctly by the printer. So that puzzle actually was immediately corrected. And we replaced those units, but we do apologize. There were a few units sent out, particularly some of the folks who got samples. But that puzzle was corrected. As you saw, though, you could still assemble the puzzle, even though it was cut in reverse, so to speak. And I think that the problem was the hole, if I remember correctly, was in a different place than was pictured on the box. So with country horses and any future sales of Pawn Puppies, please be assured that the circle will be in the correct place as it's pictured on the box.
Okay, that's it. We just had a lot. Excitement is abounding on the questions.
Awesome. Okay, we have 2 new cast and play kits to show you. We are going forward with HumanWorks, where you can actually cast and assemble a human skeleton. But we also have alongside that, we have DinoWorks. Woo! We have DinoWorks in the spring, so a child now can cast, paint, and assemble their own Tyrannosaurus Rex. Woohoo! My daughter couldn't wait to get her hands on that. She started painting it. I'm going to assemble this here in a second for you. So DinoWorks comes with a guide that introduces the child to paleontology. and I'm going to attempt to assemble that here. Let me take you through that. And as I'm trying to build that here, I'm going to also show you the Cast and Paint Camaro. Now, you may be familiar with the race car, hopefully, that we had in our line. And you now, the race car is being discontinued, and we are replacing that with the Camaro, which the supplier tells us is one of their more popular sellers. So particularly if you have any Camaro fans or drivers in your household or family, you're going to want to get the Cast and Paint Camaro. I'm going to show you this here in a second, take you to my slide. So this is DynaWorks. You see the molds there, very easy to use. I am attempting to assemble this as I go. Oh, that's a pretty long, well, you get the idea as I'm building it here, it's a pretty long T-Rex. And the bones come out like so, etc. It does come with either white or brown paint, so the child can choose what color they want. And there's also stain. So after the child's painted, they
Well, we lost the sound. Jim, can you hear us? I can see you moving, but I cannot hear you. Well, that's odd. I lost the sound too. Oh, good. You guys can hear me. You can see him moving. This is not good. Interesting. Jim, can you hear us? Boy, I do not know what happened.
Mary, Jim's working on fixing it right now.
Okay, great. Sorry about this, guys. We'll get this rectified in a moment, hopefully.
Hello?
There you are. Wonderful. We can hear you now, Jim.
Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. My phone just died.
Okay, great.
All right. So again, as you see here, I'm building the T-Rex skeleton. You get an idea of the scale of how big this is. It does come, as I mentioned, with a guide, and the guide introduces the child to the science of paleontology, talks about the T-Rex, a lot of great information in here. And it comes with magnetic strips again. The child can cut, attach the strips to the back of the pieces, and they then can secure their T-Rex to a refrigerator or another magnetic surface and show off their beautiful sculpture. That's DynaWorks. And as I mentioned, we also have the Cast and Paint Camaro. The child can paint the Camaro in either yellow or red, and they can actually add gloss to it, give it that shiny look. This one has gloss on it. And it comes with decals the child can then use to customize their Camaro any which way they want. An actual function on a Hot Wheel track, has working wheels. All right. So each of these sets, the DynaWorks and the Cast and Paint Camaro, are priced the same as the other kits, $15 in the U.S. and $17.50 in Canada. Any questions?
Yes, we do have questions. Will these sets make more than one like the others?
Yes. The cars will make 2 cars. Now, the DynaWorks sets, it does not tell you in the instructions that you can make 2, but I have plenty of casting material to make 2. So if you are a little, use the material a little sparingly, you will be able to make 2 of these.
Okay, and then how long does it take to cast or set your materials for Cindy Jean?
An hour. It takes an hour, approximately an hour, for the material to set. Then you'll want to remove it from the tray, and you'll want to let it sit out for approximately another 30 to 60 minutes. Let it dry some more, and then you can paint it.
Great.
It dries pretty quickly.
Great. Billy Elias asked if you could show the underbelly of the car.
Oh, the underbelly of the car, yes. Let me put it on my camera. The underbelly of the car.
Oh, it's kind of hard.
There's a little. That's just a stain on there, but that's a. So the wheels attached. If this is your question, there's a little plastic plug. So there's a plastic plug here, and what I do is I simply, after the casting is dry, I put the wheels on then, and there's a little plastic plug, and there's a hole the plug inserts into, and you simply press down, and it holds the wheels in place. Okay?
Great.
Okay, moving on to my next fabulous toy. Okay, we have 2 wonderful exercise games in our line. We all know the continuing challenge we have with child obesity in this country. And there is a woman who last year, she just introduced 2 games. This is her passion. Her name is Heather Parisi. And the games are called Flip to be Fit and Bakari. And these games are designed to encourage kids of all ages from 6 and up to learn different exercises and different types of stretches and poses. And they also are going to learn, as they go through this game, they're going to learn about healthy and not so healthy food choices. And really, her goal is to really encourage kids to start thinking about exercise and start thinking about staying physically fit and healthy at a young age, and hopefully carry that through their years. She has a very heartwarming story. Heather, at the age of 12, she was competing as a national gymnast, and she broke her leg, which is not an uncommon story, unfortunately, in that sport. She broke her leg, but she broke it at the growth plate. And this left her with curvature and a discrepancy in the length of her legs. And because of her injury, she was teased and bullied and isolated throughout her junior high and early high school experience. And this eventually led to an eating disorder and years and years of inner struggle. But eventually she found some professionals that were, number one, they were able to surgically correct some of her problems, and she then was allowed to grow new bone. And she also, found some other professionals who helped her emotionally, and she then was able to deal with her eating disorder. And she found, strength and ability largely through physical fitness activities. And as she was able to work herself out of her dark place, she realized that she wanted to adopt this as a passion in her life in terms of helping other people and hopefully encourage, again, kids to stay fit and help them to be proud of their bodies and to make good choices so they can lead healthy lifestyles. And so she developed these 2 games, which we have in our line. And again, these are brand new, just introduced this past year. And this is Flip to be Fit, as I mentioned. This is set up in a game board format, and I'll show you that. And there's 4 different types of cards that a child will draw as they go through the game. There's a yoga card, which a bunch of different yoga poses. There are cardio cards, which are exercises the child needs to do. And each of these cards will challenge the players to hold a pose or to actually do an exercise for a amount of time, so it might be 10 seconds or 20 seconds. Or maybe they have to do 20 jumping jacks, for example. There's also stretching cards, so there's different stretches the child will learn. And there's strength cards. So these are exercises the child can do to build strength. You get a close-up of some of the cards there. And what I love about the design of these cards is that there are these shadow illustrations on there. And the illustrations clearly show the child how to do that pose or how to do that exercise. So, you know, I play with my 5-year-old, my 7 and 10-year-old. They all love this product. But the younger kids didn't necessarily need to know how to read the card. There are a description on the card to help the parent and the older children. But the younger kids would just look at the picture and they got it. And they would just try to copy or mimic the pose of the exercise pictured on the card. And again, as I mentioned, there is a time length or a number of repetitions on the card for them to do. So they need to do these exercises in order to advance through the game. Now, she also came out with a memory card game. Again, using the same type of cards, the same 4 different types of activities. But this is a memory game, so not a game board. So now this comes with a mat, like you see there. The mat folds up, fits in that box. But to play, you open up the mat, put it on a tabletop or floor, and then you turn over the cards, you mix them up, and then you just place the cards down. And there are 2 of every exercise or pose. And just like memory then, the child needs to then flip over 2 of the same cards. And when they flip over 2 of the same cards, they then will conduct that exercise or that activity, and they get to keep those cards. So again, 2 wonderful game formats, you know, to teach kids about being physically fit. And let me take you to my camera. Flip to be Fit. I just love the name. It's very catchy. Flip to be Fit. There is a dinosaur character. His name is Springer. And Springer is illustrated on the game board. And the child is challenged to try to get to the finish line where Springer is. And the game board is set up like a park. And the child needs to work their way through the park. You see in each corner there's 4 different colors. There's up to 4 different players. So you just get your pawn. You start in your respective color. And you then need to advance around the park. And then when you get back to your color, kind of like Sorry, you're familiar with Sorry, when you get back to your color, you want to head into the center of the circle and be the first to meet up with Springer in the center of the park. Now there's a spinner. The spinner tells you what kind of cards to draw. As I mentioned, the cards have 4 different types of cards. There's cardio cards, strength, stretching, and yoga. You turn over the cards, and again, the activity or pose is illustrated. So, for example, this is a cardio card, and it has run in place for 30 seconds. So the child needs to go crazy and run in place for 30 seconds. This is a strength card. This shows push-ups, and the child is asked to do 5 repetitions or 5 push-ups. Okay, and depending on the type of card they draw, that tells them how to advance around the game board. For example, a cardio card, they can go 2 spaces forward. A yoga or stretching card, they go 1 space forward. A strength card, they get to go 3 spaces forward. Now there's some other cards in here, and you can choose to include these or not. There's a healthy food choice card, and there is a bad food choice card. And on the card, there's pictured some healthy foods. There's fruits and vegetables and breads, for example. On the bad card, you'll see sodas and snacks and donuts and hot dogs and etc. Now, if a child draws one of these cards, then the healthy choice card, they get to go 2 spaces forward, but the bad food card results in moving back 3 spaces. So again, you can choose to keep these cards in the game or not. And that's essentially how the game works. Now, my 10-year-old daughter, I was quite surprised how excited she was about this product. And we played this a couple days before she was to have a birthday party. And she actually asked me to bring this game back home because she wanted to play this game with her 10-year-old friends. So she was not embarrassed in the least bit. And what she loved about it is she loved the challenge. She loves being able to challenge her friends to hold a certain pose or to do a certain exercise for a certain period of time. And as I mentioned, my 5, 7, and 10-year-old had a blast. In fact, I left them for about 15 minutes, and they were still laughing and giggling away, just having fun with this game, just among the 3 of them. Flip to be fit. And Bakari, as I mentioned, is a memory game. It comes with the same type of cards, with the same types of exercises and poses. This is a super Spider-Man crawl, excuse me, right there. This is a dolphin plank. It's a type of stretch, I believe. So the kids also love the great names that these different stretches and activities have. And as I mentioned, the memory game comes with a play mat. So it's right here. Kind of get an idea of the scale of this thing. It's pretty large. So that's the play mat. Pretty good size. And the child then would simply set the cards out randomly and try to find the matching pairs. The play mat is made of a vinyl-like material. The prices of these, Flip to be Fit is $35 in the U.S., $40 in Canada, and Bakari is $25 in the U.S. and $30 in Canada. As I mentioned, these are brand new, and these 2 products, your customers are really not going to be able to find this product in too many places because it really is brand new. And she has been concentrating thus far in distribution. She's been working with exercise and fitness clubs and different fitness organizations, and we're really one of the first retail opportunities to make this product available to customers. So any questions about Flip to be Fit or Bakari?
Absolutely. We had a couple comments. Billy Elias said, sounds like it should be for adults as well.
Yes, very much so.
Casey Russell said, what a great idea to keep kids fit. Tanya Schulk said, awesome product for prizes for my daughter's upcoming fitness month at school. Thanks, Jim. And I think that's a fabulous idea for, I'm sure most kids' schools have the fitness month, so that's definitely an idea for people upcoming. And then Billy had a question, again, why do you need the play mat? Can you play without it?
Yes, you can play without the play mat. The play mat does have instructions on there as well for the game, but you don't necessarily need the play mat, no. I think she felt it was a nice visual guide for kids, and it just added a little more element of fun. Kids like mats, but no, you don't need it.
Yeah, and Brittany Malone just messaged saying, this would be a great product for physical education teachers.
Yes, very much so. Both these products are fabulous opportunities for schools, yes.
Okay, that's it, right.
Okay, we have another older age game in our line, and I love this game as well. It's a very creative design. It's called Discombobulation. The name alone is fun. And I really have to show you this game, but the challenge here is you're dealt a number of cards, and again, the challenge here, once again, is to get rid of your cards first. And I'll have to show you how you get rid of them. There's actually numbers on the cards, and you're actually going to play numbers, and you're going to add them as you go. So if I have a 1 showing on the discard pile, and I put down a 9, I'm going to say 10. The next person puts down a 5, and they say 15. So you're adding, adding, adding. But there's also minus cards, so you can actually subtract as well. And again, you're placing the cards as fast as you can to go out, but you can't go over 30. All right, so there's a catch. You cannot go over 30. So you can actually, again, use a negative card to bring the balance back down again. But there's all kinds of fun cards in the deck that throw a loop into the game. And I'll show you those in a second. And this is why it's called discombobulation, because it really discombobulates the game. So let me take it to my camera, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. This is discombobulation. Comes in a nifty little box. And I have my demo cards here on the bottom. Let me show it to you. And so there's numbers on the card. So that says 2, for example. So if I place a 2 down in the discard pile, let's just pretend there's a discard pile there. And I have 2 again. Next player put down 2, and they say 4. That's a 7. I'm going to say 11. Another 4 is 15. Another 6 is 21, etc. And as I mentioned, there are negative cards in here. So, for example, it's a 5 negative. So if I'm at 15, I have negative 5, I'm going to say 10. I have a negative 10, so I can bring it back down to 0, and then you start up again. So 3, 8, etc. But as I mentioned, there's some other cards in the deck. So this is a U-turn card. So the U-turn card just changes the direction of the play. And there's also a number value on the card. So if I say, let's say we're at 5, I play U-turn 10, it's now 15, but the order changes. There are some other fun cards in here. I don't have them handy here. There is a discard even card. So play this card, and I get to discard all the even cards in my hand. And I believe there's also a lose a turn card in here. So the next person would lose a card. There's even a steal card. And you play this card, and you get to trade hands with another player. So if I see somebody has less cards than me, I can actually trade hands. But wait, there's also some what are called discombobulation cards. And instructions here will tell you what those are. And the discombobulation cards are a challenge. So you're going to introduce a challenge to the game. And there's different types. There's 3 different types of discombobulation cards. The instructions tell you what those are. For example, there's a moved fast challenge. So 2 examples are there's a monkey see, monkey do card. So if I play a monkey see, monkey do card, then I'm immediately going to put it down and I'm going to make a motion. So I might raise my hand or I'm going to rub my belly. And all the other players have to copy or mimic that motion. And the last person to do so, they then have to draw a card. Another mood fast challenge is slap it. So if I play a slap it card, all the other players have to slap the card. The last person to slap it, again, must draw a card. There's some other ones. There's our think fast challenges, and there's 9 different ones. And one example is a maestro card. So the maestro card says play this and pick a song that everyone has heard before, maybe Jingle Bells or it's the national anthem. Then I'm going to start by singing the first line. Then the next person needs to sing the next line and so on. And you're going to go around and sing the song, and the first person to make a mistake then must draw a card. There's a Mr. List. So I'm going to pick a category like this card says American cars, or I might say science fiction movies, or I might say fruit, for example, whatever. So you get to choose a category, and then everyone has to then add an item in that category. And the first person to make a mistake or to repeat an item that's already been said, they again need to draw a card. There's also memory challenges. There's 6 of those. And for example, there's a card called Cue the Zoo. And in Cue the Zoo, I play this card and I give each player an animal. Now the play of the game will then continue, but all players must make the sounds of their animal before they speak. So I may say, you're a cow, and you need to say moo before you speak. And if you make a mistake, again, you draw a card. Another memory challenge is pass a law. So I play this card, and I get to create a law that all players must follow. There's an example on the card. For example, you must tap the deck before you draw a card. So you pass a law, and every player has to then obey that law as they work through the game. And again, whoever makes a mistake draws a card. So you begin to understand how these challenges discombobulate the game, which is great. And again, you can choose to use the discombobulation cards or not. So I practiced this game with my younger kids without using these cards, and they had fun just with using the numbers and trying to see who can run out of cards first. But again, if you want to introduce a lot more excitement and fun for the older players, and again, this game is great for all ages. Play with all the discombobulation cards. Okay, that's discombobulation. I hope that makes sense. Again, it's quite easy. It's quite easy the first time you play through it. And again, if this is a game, it's got the right price point. It's $10 in the U.S., $12.50 in Canada. And if you take this out and just play a single hand with your customers, they're going to be hooked. I mean, it's such a fun game. Any questions?
No, just comments right now. Deanna Wallace has said that there are so many great products coming out. It makes it hard to choose what to have for demos and for our own toy testers. And Jennifer Haas said, super fun. Can't wait to play this with my brothers and sisters at Easter.
Yes, a great, again, perfectly priced for an Easter gift. Now, well, we're hoping that that you like all these products and you find the need to get these samples. Now, the great thing about the sample program, though, is they are available individually. So perhaps you can purchase half now and half in a couple of weeks. But I think you'll agree with me after having seen these products that if you have these in your hands, you've got a lot of guaranteed sales here with these products. Now I think I have one final product to show you, and that is the Superstitions puzzle. Now, hopefully you're familiar with Fairy Tales that we had in our last catalog. And like Fairy Tales, Superstitions is an activity after the puzzle is complete. It is a 1,500-piece puzzle. So granted, a great family puzzle for parents to build along with their children. Depicted by the same artist that did Fairy Tales, James Christensen. And once you've completed this puzzle, there are, I think, 72 different superstitions for you and your children to identify. There's the obvious ones on here. There's somebody walking under a ladder. There's somebody opening an umbrella inside. There's somebody tossing a bouquet. There's a frog. There's somebody throwing burnt toast out the window. There's a black cat. There's somebody, spilling a piece of cake. So there's a lot of familiar ones and not so familiar ones. And there is an answer sheet that will be available in DT's online shop or on your online shop. Very, very similar to Fairy Tales. So, if they purchase this product from you, you'll be able to either hand them an answer sheet or you can direct them to where they can actually download it, print it out themselves. So just a very fun puzzle. What I love about Superstitions is this really appeals to the older ages and even to the grandmas and grandpas in the world. This would be a fabulous puzzle for senior centers to have as well. Great activity for them to build the puzzles with their friends and then try to guess all the different superstitions depicted there. Again, any questions? And I think that is it.
Okay.
So I hope you're excited about all the great, fabulous new products that are available now. So as I mentioned at the top of the webinar, these samples are available to you at 10% off. Great price. Again, get these products, pull them out, and show your customers, and guaranteed your customers are going to buy at least a handful of these toys and games and books.
Jim, could you give the price for the last puzzle?
Yes, the last puzzle, Superstitions, is $18 in the U.S. and $21 in Canada.
And how many pieces does the puzzle have?
1,500 pieces.
Okay, that is it for the questions. Jim Myers did want us to remind everybody that these products right now are 10% off, And for this time only, well, for this time, I should say, we are offering PS. That's correct, right, Jim?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct. So yes, so it's a fabulous opportunity now to get these samples. And we do encourage you, as we are now, well, a little bit over a month out from the start of the spring season, we encourage you to take advantage of the time, get these samples now, learn about the toys, even start to get your customers excited about what's coming. But a great opportunity for you to get familiar with them. Again, guaranteed sales. If you have these in your hands, pull them out at your demonstrations. You're going to have a great spring. And of course, and don't forget all the other great items in our catalog. Obviously, all of our core items are going to move forward, and it's going to be a fabulous spring.
And Jennifer Haas had asked, this is until April 15th, correct? And that is correct for sampling. Any last
questions up there?
See if anybody has any last-minute questions for us. Okay, well, thank you, everyone, for joining us live, and I will go ahead and upload this to the website as quick as I can, and hopefully it'll be up in the next hour or two for everybody else who couldn't make it live. So thank you again for joining us on today's product preview with Jim Garber. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me again on this fantastic morning. I guess